Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. Also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. Uncanny X-Men 184 from 1984. We've got a cover here featuring Professor Xavier against the future Black Queen, Selene, with Rachel Summers right down here. So this would be she first appeared during Days of Futures Past. By the way, I have a playlist that I have an X-Men playlist. I have a New Mutants playlist. I have an X Universe playlist where I put all sorts of stuff in there, like X-Men and New Mutants and um, Marvel Fanfare issues that Chris Claremont did. We've got the Wolverine limited series, all sorts of stuff. I got playlists all over. Feel free to check them out. So she is originally from Days of Futures Past, but somehow, with no explanation, we have not been explained yet, she is now in the Marvel proper. So she's no longer in an alternate timeline. So she first appeared then in New Mutants 18. And so this is her second appearance as in this timeline. So all right. And so this is the cover to the X-Men Classic that had come out in 96. Paul Smith is the cover artist here. So, Dallas, Texas. And so, if you remember from the previous issue here, this is Eagle Plaza, and this is Mystique right here, and this is Valerie Cooper, except Valerie Cooper does not know that this is Mystique here. So, Forge has security. This is going to be his first appearance. So, the AI here says, state your names, please, for voice print identification. And so Mystique, I'll just refer to her as Mystique, even though Valerie doesn't know it yet. Raven Darkholm, Defense Advanced Research Planning Agency. Dr. Valerie Cooper, Special Assistant to the President's National Security Advisor. Identities confirmed, access approved, says the AI. Your man Forge certainly likes his privacy, says Valerie Cooper. Valerie Cooper will be she'll be used quite a bit during Peter David's X Factor run. So, and Mystique says, just being careful. He's both unique and essential. We can't afford to lose him. He designed this entire building, and owns the top 10 floors. He didn't believe the government could provide him with a secure place to work and live, so she's like, Valerie's like, oh my, made his own. And so even Mystique is impressed with what we're about to see. So we're going to have a double page spread here. The Past of Futures Day is the title here. So I made it a little bit bigger so you can kind of see here. So we've got like a kitchen and some stairs, a living room, but at the same time, like an office here. This would be a hologram. Um, so we've got our title here, or sorry, our credits here. Chris Claremont, John Romita Jr., and Dan Green. Dan Green, rest in peace. He'll be sticking around for a while. He'll be doing most of the issues, including when Mark Silvestri takes over. So, with the exception, he'll be the inker for most issues going forward. And so Cooper says a hologram, and Mystique says far more than that. He replicates the physical environment as well. Feel the breeze, smell the wildflowers. This truly is the next best thing to being there. Watch your step, though. Those platforms you see are free floating. People have been known to get confused and fall off. It can be a nasty drowse. This penthouse is 5 stories tall. Where's Forge, though? I thought he was. And then she's like, drops here because this eagle here. And they both drop it, but she asks like, "What's wrong?" And but she reacted too. So anyway, all right. Um, so Valerie says, "I'm sorry, another illusion, right? I feel foolish crying out like that, but it seems surreal." And she says, "Believe me, I understand. During my first visit, Forge scared me half to death. Fortunately, you get used to it, and him." And so Forge off panel says, "You don't need my telling you. You can see the signs yourself. The ancient patterns are being broken, the proper order of things overturned. The fabric of life itself is unraveling. So, you alone possess the powers to put the matter right. It is your responsibility, your sacred duty. Once perhaps, but no longer." And I'm sorry. These are actually two different people talking. So one is oh my god, he's Anais. He'll be instrumental during the Fall of the Mutants, and the other one is Forge. So I don't know which one. I think the So is Forge. And then the other. So I think this is Naze, and then Forge, and then Naze, and then Forge. So Naze is coming down, and Forge is like, "Find others to take my place." And he says, "We tried. They did their best. Nothing remains of them save their bleached bones. You cannot hide from your destiny," says Naze. "I don't. I simply deny it." And Naze says, "Fool, your cowardice will doom all you hold dear." And so, um, and so Forge says, "But suppose, my old friend, a man holds nothing dear and does not care," and then the hologram is gone. "Good afternoon, ladies. Welcome to my house. I'm a Forge." So, my apologies for Nace. He has a good heart, but his passion occasionally gets the better of him. I've known him my entire life. Sometimes he forgets I'm no longer a child or his pupil. You look well, Ray, meaning that's Mystique here that he's referring to. So they asked, "What was that about?" He says, "Tribal business, a chapter of my life I closed years ago. Nothing really to concern you or the Defense Department. Now, if you follow me to my lab," and Valerie Cooper says, "It's a pleasure to meet you at last, Ford. Your reputation doesn't do you justice." And he says, "I have a knack for inventing. When Tony Stark stopped designing weapons, the government turned to me." And she says, "I love that hollow projection system upstairs." And he's like all modest. "Merely a little something I whipped up to pass the time. I already made one for Raven. Would you like one for your own place?" And he goes, That'd be wonderful," says Valerie. "As good as done. Now, according to Ray, meaning Mystique, Raven, or Raven, the U.S. is in armed conflict with the extraterrestrial race of Dire Wraith. This is from Rom the Space Knight. So, their archfoe, the Space Knight Rom, uses an analyzer to locate these beings and a neutralizer which banishes them to another dimensional limbo. However, because of built-in safe mechanism, we are unable to examine, much less copy, Rom's weapons. My brief was to duplicate them both." And so Mystique goes, "And have you?" And Forge says, "In part. This gun should theoretically neutralize the power of any super being, mutant or otherwise. In essence, they become normal people." And he hands it over to Valerie. "Excellent. Has it been tested?" He says, "No. I'm still not sure whether the effects is temporary or permanent, or what the physical or psychological repercussions might be. As you can imagine, this really isn't the sort of thing that can be tested on live subjects. There's a lot more work to do, I'm afraid, before that prototype can be released. On the other hand, the scanner's ready to go. It will tell you who is or isn't baseline human, and whether they're mutant or alien. It can even differentiate between Kree, Skrull, and most importantly, race. As a matter of fact, it reveals one of us in this room is a mutant." And she's like, "What?" Which is, of course, her. This must be broken because that actually would detect too, because Forge is a mutant. He's going to, um, and she goes, um, so Misty goes, "Does he mean me? Who else? If he denounces me, that sure to jeopardize my true identity as Mystique, leader of the Brotherhood of Mutants. I don't like saying evil because I don't think they would consider them. That must not happen. I have no choice. I'll have to kill him and Val as well. My apologies, ladies. No need for alarm. It was just a joke. The mutant you see is me. Very funny, indeed. And Mystique is like thinking, so close to total disaster, but this is only a temporary retrieve. I have to make certain Forge's scanner is never used, or failing that, to disguise my real nature from it. And finally, most assuredly, to repay our host in full for his little jest. And Forge here now thinks, whatever's happened to Raven's sense of humor, if looks could kill, my troubles would be over. I really spooked her. I wonder why. She's got something to hide. And so, anyone interested in lunch? If I do say so myself, I'm a superb cook, and I guarantee the view cannot be beat. So, all right. And so, back in the 80s, a lot of these stores would sell televisions and put them in their, um, so that people would buy. But because it's New York City at night, they put bars in there so people can't just smash the window and grab stuff. So, on a TV, they're showing about the X-Men going through Japan and all that kind of stuff. So, and here we have Rachel Summers here, and she says, "I recognize the men: Sunfire, Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler. But who's the woman? She can't be Storm. Ororo never looked like that. Of course it is. Um, so, all right, and so they make a brief announcement about the Mutant Affairs Control, and she wasn't paying attention. She's like, "What did he say? What was the name of that bell? Oh no, the lights of the TV turned off. The electricity," she says. And so she goes, "The street's deserted, and my side scan reveals the store's empty too. An automated circus must have cut the power. All I have to do is use my telekinetic power to temporarily override the control elements and switch everything back on. I hope I'm not too late." And of course, she is. "I missed it. I missed it," she thinks here. "Stupid girl, why didn't you act faster? I'm so confused. I can't shake that feeling that something awful has happened. I went to the mansion yesterday looking for Professor Xavier. Colossus' little sister, Eliana, answered the door. She was a 15-year-old girl. That was in New Mutants 18, which I have covered. So, um, but the Eliana I remember was 15 when she died, and that day is still years in the future. The Mutant Control Act was passed in response to the assassination by mutants of Senator Robert Kelly, yet here, now, he's the man responsible for it. My time shift was successful. I'm in the past, but is this the right past? My past. Which, of course, we know that there's no such thing as everything changes. If you so it becomes alternate. So, and at the same time here we see a magnificent, and we see Celine here, who has reappeared. This last issue, she appeared now into the X-Men. Of course, if you go into my New Mutants playlist, she actually appeared there. She was in the same um, as Magma. It's like a Roman out of place thing in Brazil. So feel free to check that out if you would like here. So Celine says, "Not since the dawn of my existence have I sensed such power in a living being. In many ways, it dwarfs even my own," as she senses Rachel. "This metropolis has provided me with a great sport since my arrival. Tonight, however, it offers something far more precious. Not prey for Celine, the demon huntress, but a disciple, an heir." So great. Um, Great panel there with the red, the white eyes, just so friggin' cool. And so Rachel feels something here. She goes, "What's that? Who's there?" she says out loud. "I can't see anybody with my eyes or my mind. Why am I so jumpy? It's so strange, a little scary seeing New York like this. The city I remember was mostly in ruins. The air's turned cold all of a sudden. I can't stop shaking." You ever notice in the Marvel universe, and I know it's because she's a Jean Grey's daughter, but here's the thing. red is the most recessive of hair colors. So, for the most part, um, unless Scott had someone in his family that had red hair, it is almost impossible to be red hair if both your parents aren't red hair. But it's not impossible, but it's a reset. It's the most recessive of everything. Of all the colors. That's why they're so rare. But in the Marvel universe, everyone's a freaking redhead. I don't know whether it's because it's more striking or whatever, but goodness gracious, the amount of redheads in Marvel. I sometimes think there's more redheads than black people in Marvel comics. We got Mary Jane, Jean Grey, this one here. We've got Matt Murdock. Oh goodness gracious. Anyway, I digress. So she gets this fire engine kind of scares her, and she's like trying to gather her senses, but Celine comes through here, and she goes, "Come to me, child. Yield to my dark embrace, and you will never be weak, never need fear again." And she goes, "Get away from me," and creates this light here that um, Celine kind of stands back here. And so she begins to run here. Her hunger so strong in her mind. She wants my life. I'm no match for her. I've got to run. And so John Romita Jr. is great at getting people running. It is um, his best thing. It's one of the things that when he gets somebody running, you're like, "Yep, that's John Romita Jr." So, who is she? What kind of creature? There, a light. I can hide inside. Try to lose her in the crowd, or maybe find some help here. And here we have a doorman here in very 80s. And so she runs through, and the not the doorman. Oh my God, security. I forgot. I don't go to clubs, so. Anyway, he says, "What are you doing, girls? This club's members only. Come back here, Jerry. Get her." And so she runs through, and so inside is the club here, and then she trips here, and then suddenly she gets everyone's voices here, and it's too much in her mind, and all of a sudden she hears that voice of Celine here. Anyway, the security guy catches her. I love 80s. That's so awesome. He's like, "On your feet, honey. Showtime's over. Give me any grief and I'll break your arm. Please let me explain." He's like, "Save it. We run a class act here. No street riffraff allowed." So, and then good. It gives us a thing here. We go down here. This guy is gonna help her here, and he's very instrumental here. So Nick, uh, Damiano. So he must be Italian. Must be related to the thing, and so he's gonna kind of help her, and so the two of them are gonna walk outside. So, and he takes her into the apartment, and you can tell that she's very impressed, considers it very pretty. I'm just gonna kind of narrate a little bit because a lot of the stuff is just to get her, because we're gonna have a tragedy here. So, all right. So Nick is going to give her some orange juice, and she's just surprised. Real orange juice. And she's like, "It's been years since I've had any," because of course where she grew up, um, she basically grew up in a concentration camp. So, and so he's gonna make her supper, and she's gonna go take a bath here, and she's just enjoying herself. And out she goes, and she feels something, and goes to Nick, and she goes, and of course Nick is dead, because of course the Black Queen. Well, she's not the Black Queen yet, but that's sort of how I knew her, because when I picked up X-Men, she was already the Black Queen here. And so, "Murderous, why did you kill him?" says Rachel. "I'm a predator, child. Since time immemorial, Homo sapiens have been the prey of the dark huntress Celine." Very soon now, it shall be yours as well. Again, the use of screen tones, very good. I like Dan Green. And then Rachel uses her mind blast again here, but she also has the telekinetic, so she's got all of Jean Grey's powers. I'm surprised. It would have been so cool if she would have also had her dad's powers too. So she would have had the optic blast here. So, all right. So blasts Celine there, and you can see here, she knocks her out here. Selena, of course, is like most formidable child. Your resistance and my ability surpass my expectations. I am impressed. And so she telekinetically picks up all these things here. And Celine, though, is able to hold her own. She goes, I'm not without resources myself. My control over inanimate objects is absolute. I can reduce them to dust. So, or bring them to life. And we saw this in the New Mutants. And so she is using the everything against her here, and you can see breaking the electrical stuff, the electricity, which is now going to cause a surge. And Selena's like, flames, how lovely. I'm so and so very useful, Rachel, for I can control them as well. Resistance is useless. Your raw power, no match for my eons of experience. Embrace my darkness, Rachel. Be one with me. Savor a full measure of joy in the eternal hunt, the ecstasy of the kill. And Rachel's like, she's past my shields, inside my head. Too deep, I can't drive her out. My thoughts becoming hers. I won't give up, I can't, but what am I to do? I fight her so hard. And suddenly he hears Xavier in her head. Child, can you hear me? Professor Xavier, she says. Celine, she's stealing my life, my soul. Hurry, Professor. Follow my thoughts. Help me, she yells. And so Professor Xavier arrives here. As Cerebro indicated, two mutants, both possessing considerable powers. I am Charles Xavier. Stand away from the girl, Celine, and leave her be or suffer the consequences. By Hecate, whoever that is it a ghost? Of course, this would be Charles Xavier's astral projection. He's not really there. It's a psychic. But suddenly, the X-Men have shown up, and Colossus is wearing his new uniform here. So be careful, Rogue. The apartment's an inferno. Better teleport outside, Nightcrawler. I'm invulnerable, and Colossus is made of steel. There's no fire danger to us. And so the X-Men have shown up just in time here. And so Selena's trying to take Rachel with her, but Nightcrawler shows up. Going my way, Fraulein. So here comes Colossus and Rogue, and they're just kind of blasting right through, and Rogue picks him up. And so Nightcrawler and Selene are fighting, but of course she's going to use his clothes against her and try to choke him out. And she's like, I'm deadly too, Changeling. Rachel is mine, though your number are legion. No, they're not. There's 3 of them. You'll not keep her from me. So Rogue, of course, is like, whatever, and hits her hard. And you can see Rachel sort of getting up here. And then her and Selene are fighting, and Selene grabs Rogue here by the neck, and Rogue is like, she's draining my life, and just look at the fear on Rogue's. And Professor Xavier's astral form kind of gets between them and says, stop, as he mind blasts Selene here. And she says, Xavier's mental attack, more than I can bear. I must flee. And so the X-Men are like, Professor, she's leaping into the heart of the fire. Selene's like a chameleon, blending her psychic persona with those people around her. I'm losing her in the background. Don't try to follow, X-Men. It's too dangerous. And so Colossus picks up Nightcrawler and Rachel, and down they go. Rogue just goes right through here. And so here is Storm, and she's going to use her powers of rain to um, control the fire so that it doesn't do anything here. So I must admit, the professor makes a superb leader. He founded the X Men. He is our teacher. Is it fair to begrudge him that role? But is his desire to lead his automatic assumption of command, a reflection of my performance? Am I not good enough? She says. So, um, Storm says, I saw no sign of Selene. And Xavier says, she's a mutant. When we fought, I sensed the psychic keys. You. Oh, no. Sorry. Somebody else. Um, Psychic keys you taught me, Professor. In her mind, she's some kind of vampire, sustaining herself with the life energy of others. And so that was Rachel. And Xavier's like, when did I teach you, young lady? We've never met. Right, I keep forgetting that hasn't happened yet. Heck, in reality, neither have I. He's like, what? And so Xavier's like, something about this girl's face. She's strangely familiar. And she goes, I feel so rocky. If I didn't have you to hold on, Professor, you're standing. You can walk. And you're Storm. And Storm's like, who else would I be, you know? But your hair should be long. What's happened to your costume? I've seen your photographs. I've known you all my life. You've never looked like this. Then, child, your pictures and memories are wrong. No, I can't deny it any longer. I made a terrible mistake. Somehow, I'm stuck in the wrong past, and because of my stupidity, the world is doomed, meaning hers. So, Rogue, Public Enemy, next. So, oh boy, oh boy. There is a reason why the X-Men during Chris Claremont's time were the best-selling title, and you can see all the drama, all the everything. Just it's so good. So, um, this is really the golden age of the X-Men here. This era. Um, it's just so good. Chris Claremont is amazing writer. So, Uncanny X-Men 184, written by Chris Claremont, penciled by John Romita Jr., inked by Dan Green. Like and subscribe. Thanks for listening, and I really do hope you enjoy this because this is just good stuff. Goodbye.